Good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon.
So I'm with Professor Onyia, and he is the Managing Director of the UKNIAF program, which is UK Nigeria Infrastructure Advisory Facility. It's a program of the United Kingdom government, and it supports infrastructure in Nigeria. Now, Prof, I have a question for you about how our realities in the country are going to provide an environment for us to improve infrastructure. We're in a situation where our macroeconomic indices are all looking very poor. Our inflation rate is around 6.4%. You saw the 2021 budget. There is a huge deficit in there of about 5 trillion naira that has to be funded, and the capital expenditure expectation of that budget is about 4 trillion naira. And a lot of that is supposed to be filled by borrowing, which is going to put a lot of pressure on our exchange rates and other aspects that will be affected. So, given that infrastructure in and of itself is very expensive, how is a UKNIAF going to help with this?
Thank you so much, Khadijat. I think for us in UKNIAF, we see opportunities for supporting the Nigerian government in improving its infrastructure outlook. I think what we have to keep in mind is that the issues going on here are also the same issues going on globally, especially exacerbated by the COVID and the realities we've had with international economies all suffering the pressure from COVID, Nigerian government not being an exception. It's just that there's been a track record of Nigerian budgets not meeting its infrastructure target, which I recall in an earlier comment I had talked about $100 billion over the next 30 years for us to catch that. This is according to the study that IMF did. And if you think about all this, and we have to sit back and ask ourselves in UKNIAF, what are the best ways to provide advisory support that can change the mindset of those in the policy space? So our target really will be those decision makers, convincing them of the need to be able to bring in creative ways of doing and not expecting the budget, which from what you pointed out now and we know is less than 5 trillion, and 5 trillion is not going to meet even 10% of our infrastructure needs in 2021. So the best way we have thought it is to create that environment that addresses policy concerns that private investors have had over the years, regulatory constraints that made it difficult for them to bring money, more new investments into the power space, into the road space, and infrastructure finance period. So we've started focusing on climate resilient infrastructure design. So this is slightly different from what has been the norm in Nigeria, where infrastructure really decision is made for so many other reasons, including political economy decisions. So what we've tried to do is to bring an instrument that helps them in thinking about gender sensitive conversations, things that have to do with climate, things that have to do with employment. So in thinking of the design of infrastructure, factor in all these GESI components into it. In doing that, what we've seen is that the government at the federal level, at the Federal Ministry of Finance, they've started looking at socializing these instruments within their decision process. And also in our engagements with subnational governments, we've noticed too that the work we're doing in their PPP space, the design, the thinking, is also sensitive to some of these climate indicators. So we found out that yes, the macroeconomic pressure is there. It's going to help the government think differently about just relying solely on oil and moving into other sources of revenue generation that are more climate friendly, rather than what it is now has been in the past, which is strictly around revenue generated from oil and allocating it more towards recurrent expenditure rather than capital expenditure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Khadijat.